Hello everyone and welcome to this video on Gravity Forms. So this first video we're going to just be doing a quick walkthrough on how to create a new form and then some of the fields that you can use. And then later videos we'll actually be creating the form with conditional logic and seeing each example of the fields. So first thing that you should probably see if you haven't created any forms at all yet is by clicking on forms, you'll be sent to this page and you should see something like this where it says you don't have any forms yet. So we can go ahead and create them by just clicking on the add new button. And then you can just create a title for it. And if you want to add a description, you can, but it's not required. So once you've done that, you go ahead and click on create a form. And you'll be taken to this page here where you see you can drag and drop the elements that you have here on the right and drop them here on the left. So we're not going to build a form in this video. It'll be one of the next videos. This is just to show you the fields that we can use and how to use them in later videos. So looking at your standard fields, you're going to have your single line text. So this is just one line of text. Think of it as someone's full name, something that can fit in one line. So this is what single line text would do. Then you're going to have paragraph text. This is going to be something for like leave a comment or give us more information about a specific event. This is what you would use the paragraph text for. Drop down is going to be a drop down menu. So give the user different choices to choose from, but they can only select one. So if you click on drop down here on the right hand side, you'll see that you'll be able to click on edit choices and you can add or delete choices depending on your form. Going back to the other fields, we have a number field. So this can be currency, how many people are attending, something that requires a number. Checkboxes. So this is going to be the capability of giving the user to select more than one item. So let's say they want to register for an event and there's different dates or different times for the event. This will allow the user to select like their first event and then the second event. That way they can submit two events. So checkboxes are for giving users multiple selections, where radio buttons are going to be only one choice. So if you want to give the user only one choice, make sure you use a radio button. If you want the user to be able to select more than one choice, go ahead and use a checkbox. We're going to have this hidden field. So this is more of an advanced field, but you can capture the date a form was submitted, um, the entry ID, things like that under this specific hidden field. And what that means is that when you look at the form on the front end, like on your website, this field is not going to show up, but it's still going to record the user's information that you tell it to. So that is what the hidden field is for. HTML, that's just to use HTML code to create something on the form, whether it is like special content that you want to add. There is a block for that within the form. So you would just type in your HTML content right here. Section. So this will allow you to break your form into different sections. This is very useful when it comes to conditional logic. So I can say like, if the user selects the first choice, then show this section. But if they select the second choice, then show a different section. And again, in later videos, you'll be able to see how the section works depending on what the user selects. And then finally, we have page as our final standard field. Page kind of works the same way as a section, but page allows a user to go to the next part of the form. So where section shows everything on the page that they're on, adding a page block gives the user the option to go to the next page of the form. So let me just save this really quick here. Let me just throw up page break in here really quick and just show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, this is page 1 of 2. We're halfway done, so we would just like fill all this out and then click next, where we have other items to fill out, and then we can go ahead and submit. So that is what the page field is doing. Again, we can use conditional logic where the user will be sent to a different page depending on what they select. But that is it for the standard fields. We also have a couple advanced fields here, as you can see, like name. It will automatically create a first and last name, but then also it gives you the choice of adding a prefix, a middle name field, suffix. So that's the name field. Date. It creates a calendar that allows the user to pick up a date, although as you can see here, it's not very accessible. So probably it's best practice to just have a date field like this and have them type out the date of the event or whatever date you want to capture. Same thing with time. We have a time field, a phone number field. You can select how you want the phone format to be. Address. So instead of having to create all these fields, you just click on address and it creates it for you. And then you can select the field, and then this shows up where you can select what you want to have show up. So like if you don't want country to show up, you can just disable it. And as you can see, country doesn't show up anymore. Default country, you can select the default country. So if you want United States, you can, and leave that there. But if you don't want country, again, you can just get rid of it like that. Address type international, or if you just want to leave it as United States, you can. And then select default state. So if you want Washington to be your default state, you can select it just like that. Website will allow the user to type in the URL of a website. Email, if you want to capture the email of the user and allow email confirmation. So make sure they typed in the right email. So they have to type it in twice. Uploading files. So you can have that as a field where they can upload PDF files or images. You can control it here on how large you would want them to be. So if it's images, you really don't want them to be like what it says right here, 195, because that's a very large image. So you can just say 1 megabyte is the file size. And you can also control what kind of files are being uploaded. So if you know it's only going to be images, you can just type in JPEG, JPEG, PNG, and let's just say GIF too. So this would only have these specific extensions be allowed to be submitted. CAPTCHA is for reducing the amount of bot submissions that we get, which we can create a video just for this. Lists is just creating a list. As you can see, the user can have one item here and then they can add another one, and then they would have another single line text item show up. You can control the maximum rows that shows up on this field as well. Multiple columns if you need to do that as well. So let's say this is a event registration where you can register groups of people. So this could be their name, their position, and then this could be their email address. But again, this is fields that I'll go over more in detail when we're building out a form. Multi-select, again, allows the user to select multiple items at once, but this is not very user-friendly because the user has to select or hold down control on their keyboard and then select the ones that they want, which usability-wise isn't really the greatest, and also it's not very accessible. So if you do want to have someone select multiple things, the best option is to use the checkbox field. Because with that, they can just click on the little checkbox, or if they're using the keyboard to use the form, they can just tab over it, hit space or hit enter, and then it will check the box for them. And then finally, you have a little consent field where you can type in the consent message, like I agree to everything on this form, and then they have to click on this before it can be submitted. So those are going to be all the fields that you're probably going to be using the most frequently on your forms. Again, this was just like a top overview of all the fields that are provided to you in Gravity Forms. In later videos, we'll be creating different forms using all these fields and using conditional logic. Something to keep in mind also as you're looking through these fields is that each of them have different options. Most of them do have the required. So if you want them to make a choice on a specific field, you can click on this and it will not allow the user to submit the form unless this specific choice is entered. Or if we're talking about like email, you want to make sure that you capture their email address. We can go to their email field and make sure that this is required. And if you want to make sure that they don't submit more than one forms, more than one entry, you can click on no duplicates. So that checks to make sure that that email isn't already submitted. But again, there's other things that we'll go over as we're setting up forms. We can talk about appearances, the values that show up, where we want things to be, and then the conditional logic. But if you have any questions on setting up Gravity Forms on your website, feel free to contact us